The strongest on land was never tigers or lions. After all, there's a folk saying chicken first, dog second, pig third, sheep fourth, cow fifth, horse sixth. And the first thing I did after being reborn as a chicken was to devour 300 gin of chicken feed. I ate until I was the fattest chicken in the coop. The other chicks around me thought I was crazy. You see, the fatter you get, the easier you are to be slaughtered. And the easier you are to be sent for breeding. That's worse than death. But what they didn't know was that I had awakened the Devouring Evolution System. As long as I ate, I could keep getting stronger. Although eating feed gave slow improvement. At least it was safe enough, and according to the system prompt, the weight limit for an ordinary domestic chicken is 20 gin. As long as I broke through this threshold, I could complete my first evolution. I thought I could safely lie low until I reached 20 gin, complete the evolution, and then figure a way out. But I never expected 2 humans to appear and disrupt all my plans. Dad, don't kill Gowden. He's very well behaved. He even follows me when I run. But the big man's expression didn't change at all. He shook his head. Isn't chicken leg at noon delicious? It is, but before the little girl could finish, the big man patted her head and said, don't worry, I won't kill him. The meat market has already ordered him. When it's almost New Year, I'll sell him off. After hearing their conversation, the feed in my mouth instantly lost its flavor. I had just hatched 2.5 months ago, and the evolution threshold of 20 gin was still 1,000 miles away. But fortunately, there was still time before New Year. As long as I could evolve before that, I would definitely find a way to escape this chicken farm. During those 2 months, I frantically accelerated my feeding speed. When feed was thrown into the trough, I was always the first to rush in, relying on my strength and speed far beyond the other chicks. I occupied the best spot, stuffing food into my mouth like crazy. Even the worms that fell in the corner of the coop, centipedes, and even the moss growing on the walls, I didn't miss any. As long as it was edible, I would never waste it. But because I had been eating low-energy food, my attributes didn't improve much. Although compared to other chickens, I was already a giant. It was still far from enough to fight against humans. At the same time, I also noticed that after my strength and size increased, my vision and hearing had also improved significantly. Now I could even hear the TV sound from inside the house. I could hear it clearly. Breaking news: global temperatures are rising recently. Antarctic ice is melting. Sea levels are rising continuously. Multiple naval fleets have discovered suspicious creatures under the Antarctic ice. We will continue to follow up on this story. Each news report hit my heart like a sledgehammer. As someone who has read countless doomsday novels, a reborn person, I know very well what these news stories imply. The wind is rising before the storm. Maybe in just a few months, this world will be turned upside down. By then, let alone the chickens on the farm, even humans. Whether they can survive is unknown. I must become stronger faster. Just as I was thinking this, a voice interrupted my thoughts. It was old Mai's call with the meatpacking plant. Hey boss Wang, don't worry, this batch of chickens is definitely fine. The slaughter date has been moved up. Not New Year's. It's just half a month from now. The meatpacking plant is in a hurry, and they're offering a high price. The countdown to death instantly compressed from 2 months to half a month. I was completely panicked. From 12 gin to 20 gin in half a month. It's impossible relying on feed alone. I have to find high-energy food. I have to take a gamble. That night, taking advantage of everyone on the farm being fast asleep, I used my beak, which I had sharpened to a fine point, bit by bit, to cut through the welded points of the wire mesh in the corner of the coop. It took a full 2 hours, but I finally broke the wire, revealing a gap just big enough for me to squeeze through. Without any hesitation, I squeezed out. The cold wind howled through the farm at night. The wolf dog in the yard growled low in its kennel. But relying on my extreme agility, I silently hugged the wall and slipped to the warehouse at the back of the farm. That's where old me stored his grains and herbs. I had long smelled an extremely rich energy aura coming from the warehouse. The ginseng and deer antler old me used for medicinal liquor, along with various wild herbs. These things were the high energy food that could truly help me break through quickly. The warehouse door had a padlock. There was no way I could open it, but I had already found a way in, the rat hole in the corner of the warehouse wall. Using my claws and beak, I spent an hour digging the rat hole wider and forced my way inside. Inside the warehouse, glass jars of herbs were placed on the shelves. I leaped up and smashed the glass jar with my claws. Ginseng deer antler, goji berries, fleece flower root, I swallowed them all in one go. The moment the last mouthful of herbs went down, the system prompt rang out like crazy. Host weight exceeds 20 gin, reaching the limit of domestic species. Initiate first evolution immediately. My heart was pounding wildly. Yes, just as I was about to confirm the evolution, the warehouse lights suddenly turned on. Old me's angry shout came from outside the door. Then I heard the key turn in the lock. What's in there? My heart skipped a beat. Evolution takes time, and right now I had no time at all. I made a quick decision and gave up on evolving immediately. I turned around and squeezed back out through the enlarged rat hole. I dashed all the way back to the coop, slipped back into my spot, and pretended nothing had happened. The moment the warehouse door opened, old me saw the broken glass all over the floor and the empty herb jars. He cursed loudly in anger, and even gave the wolf dog in the yard a beating. Meanwhile, I huddled in a corner of the coop, trembling all over. Not from fear, from excitement. The death sentence of half a month. I had broken it in one night. Now, even if I had to go head-to-head with the wolf dog in the yard, I was confident I could kill it easily. But I knew this was far from enough. Old me would be suspicious. The security in the yard would definitely be tightened. I had to find a chance to escape as soon as possible, to find a safe place and complete my evolution. But what I didn't expect was that fate wouldn't give me that chance. The next morning, just as the sky was beginning to lighten, old Mai came into the coop with 4 big men. They were holding nets and grab hooks, with clear targets. They came straight for me. It's this one, the biggest and strongest. Grab it first. We're sending a batch to the meatpacking plant today. Guys, give me a hand. Hold it steady, this chicken looks strong. 4 nets came down on me from 4 directions. Old iron hooks reached for my legs. The other chicks scattered and ran in panic, the coop turning into chaos. I looked at the burly men in front of me, then at Maikai standing at the door covering her mouth, not daring to make a sound, tears streaming down her face. My heart clenched. I could not be caught. If I was taken away, Maikai would be heartbroken, and I would be slit across the neck, bled plucked and served on a dinner table. I had worked so hard to be reborn, to awaken the system. I absolutely could not die like this. Facing the several people surrounding me, I flapped my wings suddenly and leaped, jumping over 2 meters high, dodging the nets coming at me. Then using all my strength, I pecked hard at the hand of the nearest burly man. A scream. I had pecked a bloody hole in his hand. The net in his hand immediately fell to the ground. The moment I landed, I pushed off hard with my legs and charged toward the coop entrance. I knew Maikai was there. She wouldn't hurt me. Sure enough, seeing me rush over, Maikai instinctively stepped aside, clearing a path for me. Old Mai shouted angrily from behind, but Maikai just bit her lip and didn't move, letting me dash out of the coop. The wolf dog in the yard heard the commotion and charged at me frantically, baring its teeth ready to bite. Now I didn't care about it at all. Just as the wolf dog lunged, I dodged sideways, then leaped up and stomped down hard with my steel-like claws, right on the wolf dog's head. Then I pecked at its eyes. The wolf dog yelped in fear, tucked its tail and backed off, not daring to come closer. But in those few seconds of delay, old Mai and his men had already chased out, and he was now holding a shovel. He swung it hard at me. I could only dodge awkwardly, making my way toward the yard gate. But just as I rushed out the gate, my heart sank. At the yard entrance was a box truck with a steel cage. The back door was wide open, and several workers from the meatpacking plant were standing by the truck, holding nets, blocking my escape. Blocked in front, pursued from behind. I was cornered against the wall. I looked at the people closing in, my feathers all puffed up, letting out warning growls. But 1 against many is no match, especially when I was facing 7 grown men with tools. In the end, I was firmly trapped under a large net, and no matter how I struggled, I couldn't break free. They tied my legs and wings with hemp rope, threw me into the steel cage on the truck, and slammed the cage door shut with a clang. The cage was welded shut, with only a small door, secured by a thick iron latch. I was thrown into the cage, watching through the window, as Maikai chased the truck for a long way, running and crying, calling out my name, Guden Guden, until the truck sped up, and her figure completely disappeared from sight. At that moment, my heart felt like it was stabbed by a knife. Wait for me, I will come back. I stared hard at the latch on the cage door, hope of escape burning in my heart. They hadn't locked the cage, just used a latch to secure the door. That was my only chance to escape. The truck bumped along onto the national highway. I could clearly hear the driver chatting with the person in the passenger seat, saying they needed to go to another farm in the neighboring town first to load up before heading to the meatpacking plant. I didn't act immediately. On both sides were villages and farmland. Even if I escaped, there would be people everywhere, and I'd be caught again soon. I had to wait for a place with few people and deep mountains. Only by getting into the remote mountains could I be truly safe and complete my evolution. To avoid being discovered by humans, I waited until the truck started climbing a winding mountain road, surrounded by endless primeval forests. Only then did I slowly move, using my already sharp beak to nudge the iron latch bit by bit. My beak was extremely hard, and with precise control, I pushed the latch outward little by little. With a click, I completely pushed the latch out. The cage door was loose. I didn't immediately force it open. Instead, I quickly surveyed my surroundings. The truck was driving on a mountain road. To the right was a steep cliff. To the left was a primeval forest stretching as far as the eye could see, with trees blotting out the sky. This was exactly the hiding place I dreamed of. Now, I flapped my wings hard, and with all my strength, I slammed into the cage door. The door burst open. Without a moment's hesitation, I jumped, leaping from the speeding truck. The wind roared past my ears. I flapped my wings frantically to slow my fall, but I still slammed heavily into the roadside guardrail. The massive impact made everything go black before my eyes. I tumbled down the steep slope and rolled into a small river at the foot of the mountain. The icy water instantly engulfed me. A sharp piercing pain shot through my left wing. It was probably broken. My leg was also cut open with a deep gash, blood staining the surrounding water red. Warning host severely injured. Constitution -10, agility -20. The system prompt sounded, but I couldn't care about that. The truck had stopped on the road, and the driver and workers were cursing, getting out of the vehicle, searching down the slope. I didn't dare waste a second. Dragging my injured body, I swam desperately to the other side of the river, scrambled up the bank, and plunged into the primeval forest ahead, disappearing into the thick underbrush, vanishing from their sight. Only when I could no longer hear human voices or footsteps did I collapse on the ground, panting heavily. A narrow escape! I had escaped from the slaughterhouse of the chicken farm. But before I could catch my breath, a strange-looking plant under a big tree ahead instantly caught my attention. It was a golden herb of considerable age, thick roots, emerald green leaves, emitting a faint medicinal fragrance. The energy it contained was several times richer than the artificially grown herbs I had swallowed in the warehouse. Perfect, my wing and leg were badly injured. If I swallowed this golden herb, my injuries would heal quickly. I dragged my wounded body, carefully approaching the golden herb, but just as I was about to open my mouth and swallow it, a strong fishy wind hit me. A black triangular-headed 5-step snake suddenly emerged from behind the tree. It was nearly 2 meters long, its thick body even bigger than my leg. Its tongue flickered hissing, its cold vertical pupils locked onto me, its venomous fangs gleaming. This was a 5-step snake that had already begun to mutate. Even an ordinary 5-step snake's venom could kill an adult water buffalo, let alone this mutated giant snake. If it bit me, even with my constitution far beyond ordinary chickens, I definitely wouldn't survive. My feathers instantly fluffed up. I pressed my injured wing tight against my body, lowered my stance, and stared intently at the 5-step snake, not daring to be careless in the slightest. The 5-step snake attacked first. Like a black lightning bolt, it lunged straight for my neck, fangs aimed at my vital spot. Just as it reached me, I leaped sideways, dodging the deadly strike. Then, without hesitation, I used all my strength to slam hard into the snake's body. Weighing 21 Jin with 57 points of strength, the impact was terrifying. The snake was sent crashing into a tree trunk, letting out a muffled thud, its body coiling up instantly. I didn't give it a chance to counterattack. I leaped up, and with my steel-like claws, I stomped hard on its head. Then my beak like a chisel, I struck its vital spot repeatedly. Once, twice, 3 times. The hard scales shattered, flesh and blood torn. In just over 10 seconds, this fierce mutated 5-step snake lay still, its body limp on the ground. I was breathing heavily looking at the dead snake. A bit hesitant, this thing was extremely venomous. Would I be poisoned if I swallowed it? But then I thought, this was a mutated beast. The energy inside it was definitely more terrifying than a century-old ginseng. If I swallowed it, not only would I complete my evolution, I might even awaken new skills. Fortune favors the bold. I opened my mouth, and using a method of sucking, I swallowed the entire 5-step snake, little by little. The moment the last of the snake went down, the system prompt, like heavenly music, rang wildly in my mind. Ding-wo! First devouring of a mutant beast special reward triggered. Ding. Devoured mutated 5-step snake, weight plus 5 Jin. Constitution plus 50. Strength plus 40. Agility plus 35. Poison resistance plus 80%. Dingpole. Awakened active skill, Devour Suction. Can release Devouring Force, directly sucking targets within range into the mouth, greatly increasing devouring efficiency. Number of devourable targets increases with host's strength. Ding! I was ecstatic. This skill was tailor-made for me. No more having to work hard, chasing after prey. I could just open my mouth and suck the prey right in. I quickly asked the system in my mind, System, what else can I get when I evolve? Ding, each time the host completes a species evolution, an exclusive talent spell will be awakened. After evolving 5 times, the natal divine ability will be unlocked. 5 evolutions to unlock a natal divine ability. My heart burned with fierce ambition. What are tigers and lions? What are bears? There has never been a born ruler in this world. So what if I was reborn as a chicken? I could still stand at the very top of the food chain by devouring and evolving, becoming the strongest on land. To test the effect of devour suction, I immediately opened my mouth toward the golden herb not far away. An invisible devouring force erupted from my mouth. That golden herb, rooted in the soil, was directly pulled up from the ground, flying toward my mouth. As it flew, it was compressed and shrunk by the devouring force, finally landing precisely in my mouth. Ding, genuine century-old wild golden herb. Constitution plus 30. Self-healing ability greatly increased. Injuries are rapidly recovering. A warm current instantly surged through my body. The fractured wing felt a tingling sensation, the sharp pain fading quickly. The wound on my leg also healed and scabbed over at a visible rate. I checked the attribute panel. My weight had reached 26 G. Constitution had directly broken through 140. Strength reached 137, and agility had also exceeded 100. Host has far exceeded the limit of domestic species. Initiate first evolution immediately. The system prompt sounded again. This time I didn't hesitate at all. Initiate evolution. Ding, first evolution begins. Estimated time 10 minutes. Please find a safe area. Avoid external interference. A terrifying wave of heat exploded from within my body. My bones cracked and popped. Instantly burst out from my body. My bones emitted a crackling sound. Feathers all over the body began to fall off. The body at a visible speed began to grow wildly. The excruciating pain of metamorphosis swept through my body, but my consciousness was extremely clear. I knew that from this moment, my sacrifice would completely rewrite 10 minutes later. Evolution complete. I suddenly opened my eyes, let out a clear and piercing naming sound, penetrated through the forest, startled countless birds from the trees. I looked down at my body. The original earthy yellow chicken feathers turned into fiery red like flames. Each feather became as hard as steel, shining with a metallic luster. My size skyrocketed to a body length of 1 meter. Wingspan of 2 meters, weight reached 80 Jin. Legs thick and powerful. Claws like blades forged from Vajra. Will flash with cold light. Eyes sharp as an eagle's. First evolution completed. Species updated Crimson Spirit Mountain Chicken. Host Gudan species Crimson Spirit Mountain Chicken. Easy to lose weight, 80 Jin physique. 300 strength, 280 agility. 350 talent spell trial, can control flames. Attach flames to the claws and palms. Incinerate everything. Immune to ordinary flame damage and physical attacks. Skill devour technique. Poison resistance. Second evolution threshold 1000 Jin. 1000 Jin, I looked at this number. Pupils contracted, but then I laughed. 1000 Jin, so what? This endless primeval forest has countless alien beasts and natural treasures. As long as I keep devouring, not to mention 1000 Jin, even 10,000 Jin, 100,000 Jin, I can reach it sooner or later. This forest is not my burial grounds. It is my treasure land. It is the starting point of my rise. But I also knew this primeval forest hides countless dangers. Right now, I'm dealing with some small alien beasts and common wild animals, more than capable. If I encountered a black bear, tiger, wild boar king, and other top predators, and those already deeply mutated, terrifying alien beasts, I am far from a match. Staying low and developing stealthily is the way. I flapped my huge wings and leaped up, flying low among the trees, searching for a safe hiding place. Relying on my greatly enhanced senses after evolution, I quickly found a stone cave on a cliff. The cave entrance was hidden. Inside it was dry and spacious. No trace of any large beast nearby. It was simply the perfect hiding spot. I moved into the stone cave and began a crazy path of devouring and growth. Every day before dawn, I would fly out of the cave, using the devouring technique to crazily consume everything in the mountains, fish and shrimp in the river, wild rabbits in the forest, bamboo rats and squirrels, bird nests in the trees, medicinal herbs in the ground, even those mutated venomous snakes, venomous bees, venomous spiders, anything that could increase attributes. I accepted everything without refusal. Devoured mutated silver ring snake. Physique plus 15 poison. Resistance plus 10% devoured centennial Ganoderma. Mental strength plus 20. Physique plus 25 devoured mutated wild rabbit strength plus 10. Agility plus 15. Devoured mutated venomous beeswarm awakened passive skill. Venom stinger can condense venom into claws. Release deadly poison in one strike. The system notification sound kept ringing in my mind every day. My weight also skyrocketed at a visible speed, from 80 Jin all the way up to 150 Jin. 200 Jin, 300 Jin. Attributes also rose accordingly. The trial spell became more and more proficient. With one burst of flames, I could directly turn a thick tree trunk into charcoal. During this time, I also found a backpack belonging to a girl who fell off a cliff. Inside there was a smartphone that could still turn on, a large capacity power bank, and a hand-crank generator. This was simply a godsend. Finally, I could keep up with the outside world in real time. I opened the phone. Overwhelming news, all about the spiritual energy resurgence and mutation reports. In just half a month, the world had completely changed. The unknown creatures under the Antarctic ice sheet had been confirmed to be prehistoric alien beasts from the deep sea. Countless deep-sea alien beasts, along with the melting ice caps, surged into the oceans. The coastlines of coastal countries were frequently attacked by alien beasts. Several warships had even been sunk. In various major forests across the country, incidents of alien beasts attacking people kept emerging. Stray cats and dogs in cities began to appear. Large-scale mutations. Even cases of attacking people in the streets occurred. What shocked me the most was the official announcement. Huaxia Martial Artist Association officially established, publicizing the martial artist cultivation system. At the same time, Mount Wutai, Mount Longhu, Mount Juhua, Mount Wudang, and other major mountain gates simultaneously issued announcements, recruiting disciples nationwide. Requirements: outstanding talent. Those with spiritual roots preferred. Bachelor's degree or above can relax conditions. The era of universal cultivation has truly arrived. I looked at the phone screen. My heart couldn't calm down for a long time. My earlier premonition had come true. This world was no longer the world where ordinary people could live peacefully. Humans now had a path of cultivation. Beasts were also evolving crazily. The future would only become more brutal. And I was still far from the 1,000 Jin threshold for the second evolution. There was still a considerable gap. Must be faster and stronger. I put away the phone and took off with a flap, flying deeper into the primeval forest. The small alien beasts on the periphery were providing fewer and fewer attributes for me. Only the stronger alien beasts deep in the forest could help me break through quickly, but I hadn't flown far when a burst of mournful wolf howls came from the valley ahead, intermingled with the angry roars of a black bear. My heart stirred. I restrained my aura, flapped my wings, and silently landed on a large tree at the edge of the valley. Looking down, a brutal battle was unfolding in the valley. A dozen mutated gray wolves, each over 2 meters long, were surrounding a huge female black bear, attacking wildly. The female black bear's body was covered with wounds. Blood dyed her black fur red, but she still stubbornly protected the two just newly born little black bears behind her, not letting the wolf pack get close at all. I recognized this female black bear. I had seen her a few days ago when I was drinking water by the river. She was with her 2 cubs fishing. Her temperament was gentle. She had never attacked me. Under normal circumstances, even a dozen gray wolves would never dare to provoke an adult black bear. But now the female black bear, with 2 cubs that had no ability to resist, was constrained. She didn't dare to go all out, and had been pushed to the brink. The wolf pack's attacks grew more and more ferocious. The alpha wolf seized an opportunity and bit down on the female black bear's leg. Tearing off a piece of flesh viciously, the female black bear let out a painful roar and swatted the alpha wolf away with a paw, but blood immediately gushed from her leg. She staggered and almost fell. The 2 little black bears huddled behind their mother in fear, letting out whining cries, clinging tightly to their mother's legs. Watching this scene, my heart clenched sharply. I thought of Mika. Back in the farm, he was just like this. His small body stood in front of me, begging old Mai not to kill me. I had originally planned to wait until both sides were weakened, and then reap the benefits. But now I changed my mind. This damn wolf pack must die today. Without any hesitation, I let out a long cry and swooped down from the big tree like a red lightning bolt, carrying blazing flames straight toward the wolf pack. The gray wolves that were surrounding the female black bear didn't react at all. Before they knew it, I slammed my claw onto the foremost gray wolf. With 280 points of strength plus the impact of the dive and the burning flames, this gray wolf didn't even have time to yelp before I crushed its skull. Its body was instantly burned to charcoal by the flames. The moment I landed, I swept my wings sideways. The flaming feathers slammed hard into 2 gray wolves, sending them flying. They smashed into rocks and shattered into pieces. In just one encounter, 3 gray wolves died on the spot. The wolf pack instantly fell into chaos. They all retreated, staring warily at me who had suddenly appeared. The female black bear was also stunned, looking at me with confusion in her eyes. The alpha wolf that had been swatted away got up from the ground, staring at my massive body, let out an angry howl, summoning the remaining wolves, intending to turn around and gang up on me, but I didn't give him that chance. Devour technique. I opened my mouth. A terrifying devouring force erupted. The alpha wolf that was about to charge suddenly lost control of his body and flew toward me. He let out terrified howls, struggling desperately, but it was useless. Just as he flew in front of me, my claw shot out fiercely and pierced straight through his head. Instant death. Ding devoured mutated wolf king, weight plus 80 jin, physique plus 100 strength plus 120, agility plus 90 awakened passive skill, bloodlust. After entering combat state, attributes continuously increase as battle duration extends. Up to double, the alpha wolf was dead. The remaining wolf pack instantly collapsed, letting out mournful howls. They turned and fled into the woods, vanishing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Crisis resolved. I turned to look at the female black bear. She dragged her injured body and bowed deeply to me, letting out a low growl, as if thanking me. The two little black bears behind her also timidly poked their heads out and waved their little paws at me. I nodded to her, then looked down at the corpses of the gray wolves on the ground, opened my mouth and activated the devour technique. The wolf carcasses were instantly sucked into my mouth. Ding devoured mutated gray wolf, weight plus 50 jin, physique plus 60, strength plus 50. After devouring the alpha wolf, my weight directly broke through 500 jin, halfway to the 1000 jin second evolution threshold. Had been reached. The female black bear looked at me and let out another low growl, then turned and walked deeper into the valley. After a few steps, she looked back at me, signaling me to follow her. My heart stirred and I followed. The female black bear led me to a cliff deep in the valley, where grew a wild ginseng as thick as a wash basin. Its roots hung down like whiskers, emitting an extremely rich energy aura. 1,000-year-old wild ginseng. My eyes lit up instantly. The female black bear growled at me, indicating this ginseng was a thank you gift for me. I didn't stand on ceremony. Opened my mouth and activated the devour technique. The entire 1,000-year-old wild ginseng roots and all was swallowed into my stomach. Instantly, a terrifying warm current like magma swept through my entire body. My meridians felt like they would burst from the energy. The system notification exploded directly. Devoured 1,000-year-old wild ginseng. Weight plus 300 jin. Physique plus 5 cents. Strength plus 480. Agility plus 450. Mental strength plus 300. Unlocked talent plant affinity. Can sense all natural treasures, earthly treasures, and the aura of plants and animals within a 10-kilometer radius. My weight directly skyrocketed to 800 jin. The second evolution at 1000 jin was now just one step away. My size also increased again. Body length reached 2 meters, wingspan broke through 4 meters. Standing there like a small rock, the crimson feathers on my body shone with a threatening metallic luster. My aura was terrifying. The female black bear looked at me with awe in her eyes. She bowed to me again with her 2 cubs. I nodded to her, let out a cry, signaling her to leave here with her cubs as soon as possible. The wolf pack might come back. The female black bear understood me and led the 2 little black bears, turning and walking into the depths of the forest, and I also took off, continuing to fly deeper into the forest. Another 200 jin and I would complete the second evolution. By then in this forest, there wouldn't be many things that could threaten me, but I hadn't flown far when the plant affinity talent suddenly sent me a danger warning. Not far ahead there was the scent of humans and the smell of iron tools, as well as a strong smell of blood and the roar of a Siberian tiger, sharp and desperate. My heart stirred. A Siberian tiger, the true king of the jungle. Even before the mutation, it was at the top of the food chain. Now with the spiritual energy resurgence, the mutated Siberian tiger's strength was even more terrifying. For it to let out such a desperate roar, there could only be one reason: poachers, and definitely not ordinary poachers. Ordinary poachers could never deal with a mutated Siberian tiger. I hesitated for a moment, but decided to go take a look. If things seemed wrong, I would turn around and leave immediately. But if there was a chance to devour a mutated Siberian tiger, I could definitely break through 1000 jin and complete the second evolution. I restrained all my aura, flapped my wings, skimming the treetops, silently flying toward the direction. The sound came from my 800 jin massive body, made not a single sound. After flying over a dense forest, a clearing appeared ahead. A campfire was burning in the clearing. 5 men in camouflage uniforms were sitting around the fire drinking, speaking fluent island country language. They were an island country poaching group. My eyes instantly turned cold. Beside the campfire were 3 large black bags. One bag had a section of a yellow-black striped tiger tail sticking out. There was also a large pool of congealed blood on the ground. That Siberian tiger had been killed by them. My senses were enhanced hundreds of times. I could hear their conversation clearly. We were really lucky this time. We caught 2 tiger cubs and killed a mutated tigress. The essence blood of this tigress will sell for a sky-high price back home. And that brown bear is also a good catch. We've exceeded our mission quota. Tomorrow we'll go to the village down the mountain. I heard that at that farm. There are quite a few poultry that have started mutating. We'll catch them all. The price offered is even higher than the pre-order. The farm down the mountain. My heart contracted sharply, instantly turned red. They were talking about Mika's family farm. These scumbags not only killed protected animals, but also wanted to target Mika's family. They wanted to harm Mika. I stared fixedly at the 5 people in the camp. All my feathers stood on end. Crimson flames slowly burned on the feathers. The murderous intent almost condensed into substance. None of these scumbags would survive today. I didn't rush to act. Instead, I lurked in the forest, waiting until late at night. The campfire gradually died out. One of the 5 in the camp stayed up to guard. The other 4 crawled into their tents to sleep. Opportunity came. I flapped my wings and silently glided out of the forest, approaching the camp like a ghost. 100 meters, 50 meters, 20 meters, the man on guard had just raised his rifle. When he looked up and saw me as huge as a small hill, his eyes instantly filled with terror. He tried to pull the trigger, but it was too late. My figure flashed, and I rushed in front of him in an instant. My claw slammed into his chest. With a crisp crack, his sternum collapsed instantly. His whole body flew backward like a broken kite. Tens of meters away, he slammed into a tree and died on the spot. Without even a scream, the people in the tent heard the commotion and casually lifted the tent flap to come out. I didn't give them a chance to react. I swept my wings sideways. With blazing flames, I sent all 4 of them flying. They crashed heavily to the ground, spitting blood, unable to even get up. I walked over step by step, claws coming down, and ended their lives in a few strokes. The whole process took less than a minute. 5 fully armed island country poachers all died. After dealing with everyone, I turned around and walked toward the 3 large black bags. I slashed open the first bag with my claw. Inside was a mutated brown bear over 3 meters long, already lifeless. Its body was stiff. I slashed open the second bag. Inside was the female Siberian tiger that had been killed. Her body was full of bullet holes. Her eyes were still open. Die with eyes open! And when I slashed open the third bag, my heart skipped a beat. Inside wasn't a corpse, but 2 newborn little white tigers, pure white with black stripes. Their eyes weren't even open yet. They were huddled together, trembling, letting out weak whimpers. They were still alive. Looking at these 2 little white tigers, I thought of Micah again. I thought of the female black bear in the valley, who had fought to protect her cubs, and this tigress, who still had her eyes open even in death. In the end, I didn't touch these 2 little white tigers. I turned and looked at the corpse of the mutated brown bear, opened my mouth and activated the devour technique. The massive bear carcass was instantly sucked into my mouth. Ding, devoured mutated brown bear king. Weight plus 180 jin. Physique plus 4%. Strength plus 450. Agility plus 200. My weight instantly broke through 980 jins, only 20 jin away from the 1000 jin second evolution. My gaze slowly turned to the corpse of the female Siberian tiger. If I devour her, I could immediately complete the second evolution, but just as I was about to activate the devour technique, the 2 little white tigers actually stood up shakily, stumbled and ran to the tigress's corpse. Their tiny bodies spread out their limbs, desperately shielding their mother's body, letting out babyish growls at me. Their whole bodies were trembling, but they didn't retreat an inch. My movement stopped instantly, looking at these 2 little white tigers that were obviously scared to death, but still desperately protecting their mother's corpse. The little white tigers. My heart could not calm down for a long time. In my heart, it felt like something had slammed into me hard. In the end, I still couldn't bring myself to eat it. Just then, one of the little white tigers suddenly turned around and stumbled over to the poacher's backpack, its mouth holding a bulging bag. It dragged it with all its might right in front of me, then tossed the bag in front of me and ran back to the mother tiger. The bag tumbled open as it was thrown. The contents scattered all over the ground. They were all medicinal herbs. 1,000-year Ganoderma, 100-year wild ginseng, Hishuwu and Tianma. All of them were top-grade medicinal herbs that these poachers had plundered from the mountains, containing extremely rich energy. They wanted to use these herbs to trade for their mother's intact body. My nose suddenly stung. Having lived 2 lives, I had seen countless schemes and deceptions, seen countless people who would stop at nothing for personal gain. But now, these 2 little white tigers, barely born, taught me a lesson. I opened my mouth, activated Devour. All the herbs on the ground were swallowed into my stomach in one gulp. Ding, devoured 1,000-year Ganoderma. Weight plus 15 jin. Physique plus 4 Strength plus 70. Ding, devoured 100-year wild ginseng. Weight plus 10 jin. Physique plus 50. Strength plus 40. After a series of prompts, my weight steadily broke through 1,000 jin, so Ding host weight reached 1,000 jin. Conditions for second purification met. Start second purification immediately. Purify now. I roared in my heart. Ding. Second purification begins. Estimated time 30 minutes. Please ensure the surrounding environment is safe. A terrifying energy storm exploded inside me instantly. My body began to transform wildly at a visible speed. Crimson scales began to fall off. New black gold scales grew out, covered with mysterious thunder patterns. Bones grew wildly. My size swelled. After 30 minutes, evolution complete. I snapped my eyes open. A golden thunderbolt shot out from my eyes, struck a huge rock beside me, instantly blasting it to pieces. I spread my wings fully 8 meters across. Body length reached 5 meters. Weight skyrocketed to 2,000 jin. My entire body was covered with black gold thunder-patterned scales. Like the hardest armor, my claws and beak were entwined with crackling golden lightning. My aura was terrifying to the extreme. Ding second evolution complete. Species updated Thundercliff Pengji. Host Gudan. Type Thundercliff Pengji. Ancient primordial bloodline. Weight 2,000 jin. Physique 1,500. Strength 1,800. Agility 2,000. Innate spell Thunderclap. Can control 9 heavens divine thunder. Fire and thunder attribute fusion. Power doubled. Immune to lightning and flame damage. 90% physical damage reduction. Lifebound skill Wind Fury Chi. After activation speed breaks 3 times the speed of sound. Can tear space for short range. Space Jump. Skills Devour, Poison Resistance, Poison Needle. Bloodthirst Plant Affinity. Third Purification Threshold. 20,000 jin. 20,000 jin. Looking at this number, I just smiled faintly. What is 20,000 jin? As long as I want, I'll reach it sooner or later. I retracted the lightning and flames from my body, turned to look at the 2 little white tigers. They looked at me. Their eyes no longer held the fear from before. Instead, there was more awe and curiosity. I didn't touch the mother tiger's body. Instead, I used my claws to dig a deep, large pit in the ground and placed the mother tiger's body carefully into the pit. I covered it with dirt, forming a small earthen grave. The 2 little white tigers stared at my actions for a long time, then walked to the grave and let out mournful cries, rubbing their little heads against the dirt mound, tears falling one by one. After doing all this, I turned to look at the poachers' camp. In their backpacks, I found a thick notebook, recording the poachers' experiences over the past 10 plus years. Poaching expeditions in primeval forests all over the country. Besides that, I also found a satellite phone, a few high-capacity power banks, a large amount of bullets and explosives, and quite a bit of compressed biscuits and drinking water. What surprised me most was finding a map of Huaxia with the locations of various mountain sects marked on it, and the coordinates of the coastal first line of defense. I gathered all these things and put them into the poacher's backpack. After I packed up and turned to leave, those 2 little white tigers actually stumbled along behind me, looking up at me, letting out soft purring calls. I stopped and looked at them. They stopped too, staring at me timidly, but they didn't back away. I growled at them, motioning for them to leave. It's dangerous here, but they seemed to understand. Instead, they ran forward 2 steps, rubbing their little heads against my claws, their eyes full of dependence. Their mother was dead. In this dangerous primeval forest, they couldn't survive on their own. I sighed. In the end, I softened. I gave them names. The bigger one was called Dahu. The smaller one was called Erhu. From then on, they were my little brothers. I picked up a backpack with my mouth and tossed it to them, let out a cry, signaling them to take turns carrying it and follow me. The 2 little ones seemed to understand. They scrambled to grab the backpack. Their small bodies followed right behind me without straying. I took off with them, flying deeper into the primeval forest. According to the coordinates in the notebook, in the deepest part of this daling primeval forest, there were countless powerful exotic beasts, even something called a sacred beast, a pitch-black fox, and countless natural treasures. My goal was to devour everything, and keep getting stronger, until I stood at the very top of this world. More importantly, I had to become strong enough to protect those I want to protect. In this chaotic world, you wait for me. I will definitely come back. In the days that followed, I brought Dahu and Erhu, and in the primeval forest, launched a frenzied devouring spree. According to the coordinates in the notebook, we advanced steadily, encountering countless powerful exotic beasts. We met a red-haired gorilla king over 3 meters long. As fast as lightning, it was extremely cunning, almost lured Dahu and Erhu away. I caught up with it using Wind Fury Chi, crushed its head with 1 claw. After devouring it, my agility exploded again. We met a brown bear king over 7 meters long, weighing over 5,000 jin. It was the old overlord of this mountain forest. Tough and thick-skinned, immense strength. I fought it for 300 rounds. Finally, using thunder and fire attributes, I wore it down and killed it. After devouring it, My physique and strength directly doubled. We met a Python King over 20 meters long, hiding underwater. Almost dragged Dahu and Erhu into the water. In a rage, I unleashed a thunderclap, blasting the entire pool apart, forcing the Python King out of the water, and tore it to pieces. After devouring it, the range of my devour skill expanded again. We also met a White Wolf King 10 meters long, leading over 100 mutated gray wolves, surrounding us completely. I directly activated Bloodthirst and Thunderfire swept out, killing in and out 7 times, annihilating the entire wolf pack. After devouring them, Dahu and Erhu, fed by me, grew quickly by devouring beast remains. From 2 palm-sized baby tigers to white tigers over 2 meters long, their strength advanced rapidly. They could now take on a brown bear alone. Besides that, I sent messages to Mikai every day using the satellite phone. I learned Mikai really was taken in by the people of Longhu Mountain. Because he was born with a top-tier wood spirit root, he was accepted as a personal disciple by the head of Longhu Mountain and taken into the mountain to cultivate. He messaged me saying he missed me very much, missed mom and dad. Said cultivation at Longhu Mountain was very hard, but he wasn't afraid. He wanted to get stronger quickly and come back to find me soon. He said the village at the foot of the mountain had been attacked by exotic beasts several times. Old me and the villagers relying on the village wall barely held them off, but the situation was getting worse. He said the coastal defense line was about to fall. Countless deep-sea exotic beasts were charging the coastline madly. Many cities had been breached by the beasts. Countless people were homeless. He said many senior and junior disciples from Longhu Mountain had gone to the front lines to support. He wanted to go too, but his master said his cultivation wasn't enough and wouldn't let him go. Reading the messages Mikai sent one by one, my heart was twisted again and again. I knew I couldn't keep hiding in the mountains. I had to go back. I had to protect those I wanted to protect. That day, I led Dahu and Erhu and killed a golden eagle king perched on the mountain peak. After devouring it, my weight finally broke through 20,000 jin. Ding host weight reached 20,000 jin. Conditions for third evolution met. Start third evolution immediately. Evolve now. Ding third evolution begins. Estimated time 1 hour. Awakening ancient Kunping bloodline. This evolution was more terrifying than the previous 2. My body transformed wildly amidst endless thunder and fire. Body length swelled to 15 meters. Wingspan reached a terrifying 30 meters. Weight directly broke through to 50,000 jin. My scales turned dark gold, like flowing star rivers. A flap of my wings raised wind and thunder. A single cry could shake the sky. Ding third purification complete. Species updated 9 heavens Kunpeng chicken. Host Gao Dan. Type 9 heavens Kunpeng chicken. Ancient divine beast bloodline. Weight 50,000 jin. Physique 8,000, Strength 10,000, Agility 12,000. Innate spell space imprisonment, conceal space within 100 meters, immobilizing the target. Lifebound skill, Wind Fury, Chai Advanced. Speed breaks 10 times the speed of sound. Can perform long-distance space jumps. Skills Devour Advanced Toxin Immunity, Perfected Toxin Needle Advanced. Bloodthirst Perfected. Plant Affinity perfected. 4th Purification Threshold, 500,000 jin. The moment purification was complete, I spread my wings and shot straight into the sky. At an altitude of 10,000 meters, I let out a cry that shook heaven and earth. All the exotic beasts in the entire Daling primeval forest, hearing this cry, trembled in fear. Prostrated on the ground, not daring to move, all beasts submitted. From today onward, I, Go Dan, am the true king of this Daling mountain range. I landed back on the peak, looking down at Dahu and Erhu prostrate at my feet, and the Black Bear King, the Python King, the Golden Eagle King I had subdued, and countless other beasts. I let out a cry of command. Target! The village at the foot of the mountain. Advanced 10,000 beasts surged forward with me. A vast horde charged toward the village. I was going back to protect my village, and to protect my Kai's home. But just as we were about to leave the forest, the satellite phone suddenly rang. It was my Kai calling. I quickly answered. But through the phone came my Kai's tearful voice, broken and intermittent. In the background were deafening explosions, and the roars of exotic beasts, and human screams. Go Dan, save me! The defense line at Hucheng has been breached. So many beasts. Senior and junior disciples are dead. I'm surrounded. I miss you, Gudan. I'm sorry. I might not make it back. The line went dead. I stood there holding the satellite phone. All the blood in my body rushed to my head. My eyes instantly turned red. A world-destroying killing intent burst from my body. The air around me instantly froze. Hucheng, I abruptly raised my head toward the east. Wind Fury Chi. I instantly spread my wings. 10 times speed of sound burst forth. I turned into a golden streak of light, shooting straight into the sky. flying madly toward Hu Cheng. Behind me, Dahu and Erhu led the 10,000 beast army, also charging eastward like mad. Makai, wait for me. You absolutely must not be hurt. Even if I have to shatter this heaven and earths, burn these rivers and mountains, I will definitely come to save you. 3 hours later, Hu Cheng, once a bustling metropolis, had now become a living hell. Countless deep-sea exotic beasts poured out of the Huangpu River. Everywhere was rubble and ruins. Everywhere fire and blood, human screams, beast roars, gunfire and explosions intertwined. The defense line was completely broken. Countless beasts rampaged through the city, slaughtering survivors. The disciples of Longhu Mountain and the defense line formed by martial artists from various sects had been scattered and broken. Countless martial artists covering the civilians' retreat died under the beast's claws and by the bank of the Huangpu River. At an abandoned pier, Makai and a dozen injured martial artists were surrounded by over 100 tentacle lizards, each over 5 meters long, completely encircled. Makai's body was covered with wounds. His white Taoist robe was stained red with blood. The peachwood sword in his hand had even developed cracks. The dozen martial artists around him were all injured, tottering on the brink. They had reached a dead end. A dozen tentacle lizards charged at them with roars. Makai closed his eyes. Tears fell. Gudan, I'm sorry. I can't go back to see you. But just then, a cry that shook heaven and earth suddenly came from the sky. This cry carried boundless rage and world-destroying power, stirring up the waters of the entire Huangpu River into towering waves. Everyone, including the beasts, instinctively looked up toward the sky. There was a golden streak of light racing from the horizon, instantly appearing over the pier. It was a giant bird like a small mountain. Its wings blotted out the sun. Covered with dark gold scales, its wings flapped. Wind and thunder roared together. Golden lightning and crimson flames blazed wildly on its body, like a divine being descending upon the world. It was me, Gudan had arrived. Seeing the wounded Makai surrounded below, my heart felt as if it were being torn apart. I let out an enraged cry. Wind, fury, chi flashed. I instantly appeared over those tentacle lizards. Thunderclap. Release. Countless golden thunderbolts as thick as barrels fell from the sky, like a sea of lightning, smashing into those tentacle lizards. Blazing flames instantly swept across the entire pier, enveloping all the beasts in a sea of fire. Screams rose one after another. Those tentacle lizards, previously so ferocious, under the scorching thunderfire, were instantly burned to charcoal, not even able to scream. I dove down, swatting with my claw. A dozen tentacle lizards were instantly smashed to pieces. I swept my wings. Dozens of beasts were sent flying, crashing into walls, smashed into pulp. In just over 10 seconds, the over 100 tentacle lizards that had surrounded the pier were completely slaughtered by me. The entire pier fell silent in an instant. Makai and the surviving martial artists all stared dumbfounded at the gigantic creature before them. A behemoth. Shock and disbelief in their eyes. I slowly landed on the ground, retracted the thunder and fire. My massive body carefully walked toward Makai, afraid of scaring him. I lowered my head and gently rubbed my head against Makai's blood-stained cheek, letting out a low, gentle whimper. Makai was stunned. He looked at me, at the small scar on my leg, a scar from when he was little, scratched by a chicken coop. Tears broke free like a floodgate. He reached out a trembling hand and touched my head, his voice choked, trembling with disbelief. Godan! Is that you? I rubbed his hand, letting out a soft cry. It's me, I've come to save you. I'm back. You couldn't hold back anymore. You threw yourself into my embrace, hugging my neck and wailing, letting out all the grievances, fear and despair in tears. I knew you'd come. I knew it. I wrapped my wings gently around him, protecting him just like he used to protect me when we were little. Don't be afraid, I'm here. No one can hurt you. Just then, the water of the Huangpu River suddenly surged into a 100-meter-high wave. A terrifying aura to the extreme burst from the depths of the river. The entire river surface instantly turned black. Thick fog spread. Countless deep-sea exotic beasts emerged from the river, prostrating themselves, trembling in fear, as if welcoming their king. A huge head covered with tentacles slowly rose from the river. Its size, even more massive than a building dozens of stories high. Its eyes were like 2 blood-red moons, staring fixedly at me, letting out a deafening roar. It was a clone of the Deep-Sea Sea Emperor, the most terrifying existence beneath the Antarctic ice. It was he who led countless deep-sea exotic beasts, breaching coastlines across the globe, slaughtering countless humans. He looked at me with a low growl, as if warning me not to meddle. But he didn't know The worst thing he could do was to hurt the people I want to protect. I gently placed Makai behind me, telling the surviving martial artists to protect him. Then I slowly raised my head, spread my wings that blotted out the sky, and let out a sky-shaking battle cry toward the Deep Sea Emperor's clone. Today, either you die, or I die. The Deep Sea Emperor's clone was completely enraged. Countless tentacles, each 100 meters long, like steel whips, lashed toward me with devastating force. The air exploded wherever they passed. I had no fear. Wind Fury Chi flashed 10 times speed of sound burst, instantly dodging the tentacle attack. At the same time, I activated Space Imprisonment. Instantly dodged the tentacle's attack. At the same time, I activated Space Imprisonment. The space within 100 meters was instantly frozen solid. The Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone moved with terrifying uniformity, trapped in place. Now is the time. Split Thunder Crimson Flame. Thunder and fire attributes fused in an instant, transforming into a world-destroying thunderfire tornado. It slammed violently into the head of the Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone. A deafening explosion roared through the air. The Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone let out a painful roar. A huge hole was blasted in its head. Black blood poured down like a waterfall, but its regenerative ability was terrifying. The blasted wound healed at a visible speed, rapidly closing up. It went completely berserk. Countless tentacles wildly lashed out at me. I couldn't dodge in time. Several tentacles struck me hard. The immense force sent me flying, crashing violently into the nearby building. The entire building instantly collapsed. Ding host severely wounded. Constitution 1000. Intense pain racked my entire body. Dark golden scales scattered all over the ground. Golden blood trickled from the corner of my mouth. Camo let out a heart-wrenching cry, trying to rush over. "Don't come," I roared at him with my psychic power. I slowly stood up from the rubble, staring at the frenzied Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone before me. The killing intent in my eyes grew stronger. Bloodlust skill activated. My stats instantly doubled. I charged forward again, fighting side by side with the Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone. Thunder and flames. Spatial power. I unleashed every move I had. The sky above the entire Protectorate city roared with wind and thunder. Flames shot up into the sky. Explosions rang out endlessly. More and more wounds appeared on my body. My presence grew weaker and weaker. But then I looked behind me at Camo, and at the surviving humans. I knew I couldn't retreat. If I stepped back, they'd all be finished. Just as the Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone pierced my wings with its tentacle, pinning me to the wall, a earth-shattering roar came from the distance. It was Tiger 1 and Tiger 2. They came with the Black Bear King, the Forest King, and Golden Eagle King, leading a mighty army of 10,000 beasts. They finally arrived. Countless mutated beasts surged like a tide, charging straight at the deep sea monsters in the Huangpu River, instantly joining the battle. Tiger 1 and Tiger 2 led the Black Bear King and furiously rushed towards the Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone. Although their attacks couldn't do much damage to the Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone, they still successfully drew its attention. You're asking for death. The Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone let out a furious roar. Its tentacles swept out. Tiger 1 and Tiger 2 were instantly sent flying, crashing to the ground, vomiting blood yet still struggling to get up, roaring at it with furious warning cries. The strongest on land has never been tigers or lions. Detected host's guardian heart awakening. Triggering lifebound divine ability, Myriad Transformation, Devouring. Host's current weight exceeds 50,000 Jin. Fourth purification conditions met. Proceed. Initiate fourth purification immediately. The system's prompt exploded in my mind like a thunderclap. Fourth evolution. I looked at the raging Abyssal Sea Emperor before me, at its clone, then at the tear-streaked Camo behind me, at Tiger 1 badly wounded on the ground, yet still refusing to retreat. Tiger 2 at those warriors and soldiers holding their weapons, their bodies covered in wounds, yet still standing before the civilians. I had no hesitation in my heart. Evolve immediately. Fourth evolution begins. Estimated time 1 minute. Merging Kunpeng bloodline with Phoenix bloodline. Unlocking the origin of the ancient divine being. Just 1 minute. Yet it felt like crossing 10,000 years. Endless chaotic divine fire and celestial wind thunder, frenziedly intertwined and merged within my body. My size began to expand wildly at a visible speed. My body, originally 15 meters long, instantly broke through to 50 meters, and in the blink of an eye reached a terrifying 100 meters. The dark golden scales all over me turned into a flowing, dazzling chaos color on every single feather. Ancient runes were engraved. A single light flap of my wings could summon wind and thunder, tearing space itself. Inside my body, a power capable of burning the sky and boiling the sea was surging wildly. Fourth purification complete. Species updated evolutionary flame chicken. Host dog egg. Species evolutionary flame chicken. Ancient divine being bloodline. weight 300,000 Jin, constitution 50,000, strength 60,000, agility 80,000, innate spell Nirvana Flame. Can burn all things and heal all things. As long as the divine soul remains, one can be reborn from nirvana. Life-bound divine ability. Myriad transformation. Devouring Evolution can devour all tangible and intangible things, transforming them into one's own source power, no upper limit. Skill Devouring Absorption Technique maxed. Toxin God level resistance boosted. True Toxin God level. Bloodlust maxed. Grass and Trees, Clear River maxed. Spatial Imprisonment maxed. Wind Thunder Crimson maxed. 5th Purification requirement, 1 million Jin. The moment purification was complete, I snapped my eyes open. 2 beams carrying Nirvana Fire and Divine Sky Thunder shot out from my eyes, slamming heavily into the Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone. Boom, a deafening ear-shattering sound. The unbreakable tentacles of the Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone were instantly blasted to pieces by the beams. Black blood, like a torrential downpour, rained down into the Huangpu River, instantly burned to nothing by the Nirvana Flame. It let out a cry of extreme agony, staring at me in disbelief. It couldn't understand. How could I, whom it had been suppressing just moments ago, suddenly in an instant, unleash such terrifying power? What are you? Its psychic power, filled with boundless terror, slammed into my mind. I let out a clear piercing call that resonated through heaven and earth, piercing through the entire Protectorate city, penetrating the thick clouds, echoing across the entire East Sea. What am I? I am Dog Egg, a household chicken that escaped from the slaughter table, the guardian of this land, a being you a beast who dares to invade my home and harm those I care about, can never afford to provoke in this lifetime. Spatial imprisonment my wings. With one flap, the space within 1,000 meters was instantly completely frozen. The massive body of the Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone, along with all its tentacles, was completely locked in place, unable to move an inch. The terror in its eyes instantly magnified to the extreme. It tried to struggle, tried to self-destruct, tried to flee back to the deep sea, but it was too late. Myriad transformation devouring. I opened my beak. A terrifying world-swallowing force exploded outwards instantly. Heaven and earth changed color. Winds and clouds churned violently. The waters of the Huangpu River were instantly sucked into a reverse flow. The surrounding ruins, broken stones and dust, all were swept into this devouring force, turning to powder in an instant. And the Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone, locked tight by spatial imprisonment, bore the brunt of it. It let out a roar of utter despair, desperately resisting the devouring force, but its resistance seemed so laughable in the face of absolute power. Its massive body, as large as a skyscraper, was slowly compressed under the devouring force, crushed and refined. Finally, I swallowed it whole into my stomach in one gulp. Ding, devoured Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone. Obtained endless deep sea source. Weight plus 20,000 Jin. Constitution plus 3,000. Strength plus 3,500. Agility plus 2,500. Obtained abyssal resistance. Immune to abyssal corruption and mental erosion. Ding, unlocked deep sea vision. Can perceive all deep sea creatures within a 10,000 li radius. The moment I swallowed the Abyssal Sea Emperor's clone, I could clearly feel an incredibly vast energy surging wildly inside me. My weight directly surpassed 500,000 Jin, halfway there to the million Jin requirement for the 5th purification, already covered half the distance. The entire Huangpu River surface fell instantly silent. The deep sea monsters that had been furiously roaring and wreaking havoc felt the world-destroying aura emanating from me, immediately shook with terror. Turning around to dive back into the river water, trying to escape, too late. I flapped my wings once. Countless fire rains of Nirvana Flame fell from the sky. The fire rain didn't extinguish in the river water. Instead, it burned even more fiercely. In an instant, the entire Huangpu River turned into a sea of fire. The deep sea monsters trying to flee under the scorching Nirvana Flame let out series of piercing screams, instantly burned to charcoal. Not even a trace of ash remained. In just a few minutes, all the deep-sea monsters within the Protectorate city docks were completely annihilated by me. The crisis was fully resolved. I slowly retracted my aura. My size quickly shrank, finally reverting to a form a little over 2 meters long. Landing in front of Camo, Camo looked at me, tears still streaming down his face, but he ran towards me with a smile, throwing his arms around my neck, burying his face in my scales, crying so hard his whole body shook. Dog Egg, you're okay. Thank goodness you're really okay. I gently rubbed my head against his hair, letting out a soft, gentle hum. Don't worry, I told you I'd come to save you, and I won't let anything happen to you. The surviving warriors and soldiers around us watched this scene, first stunned for a long moment, then erupted in deafening cheers. They knelt on one knee before me one by one, their eyes filled with awe and gratitude. "Thank you, divine being, for your life-saving grace. Thank you, divine being." Cries and shouts rose and fell, but I didn't care about them at all. My entire focus was on Camo in my arms. He was covered in wounds. His originally fair little face was splattered with dust and blood. His lips were pale without a trace of color, clearly at his very limits. I quickly channeled the Nirvana flame within me, transforming it into a gentle warm current, slowly infusing it into his body. The Nirvana flame can burn all things and heal all things. The warm current flowed through Camo's limbs and body. The wounds on him healed rapidly at a visible speed. His pale little face gradually regained color. His depleted spiritual power began to circulate wildly, surging. Host uses Nirvana Flame to heal Camo's injuries. Camo's ultimate wood spirit root fully awakened. Cultivation level breaks through to Grandmaster Realm. The system's prompt sounded. Camo's eyes snapped open, feeling the surging power within him. His eyes filled with shock. He looked up at me. The smile in his eyes was brighter than the stars in the sky. "Dog Egg, you're amazing." I arrogantly lifted my head, gently rubbing it against his cheek. "Of course. Don't you know who I am? I'm the chicken destined to become the strongest on land." Just then, an earth-shattering roar came from the distance. It was Tiger 1 and Tiger 2 leading the Black Bear King, the Forest King and Golden Eagle King, along with the mighty army of 10,000 beasts charging over. Seeing me unharmed, they instantly perked up. Tiger 1 and Tiger 2 strode over to me, rubbing their big heads against my body, whining softly, as if acting spoiled with me or checking if I was hurt. The Black Bear King, Forest King, and Golden Eagle King also led the other beasts, bowing their heads towards me, letting out respectful low growls. Looking at them, a wave of warmth filled my heart. These guys, even knowing they were outmatched, still came charging over without a second thought to fight desperately alongside me. This bond of loyalty I, Dog Egg, will remember for life. But before I could even properly speak with them, a sound of urgent footsteps came from afar. A group of soldiers in uniform, and a few old men in Taoist robes, walked over quickly. The leading elder had white hair and a youthful face. His aura was unfathomably deep. Clearly a powerful Grandmaster Realm expert. He walked up to me and bowed respectfully. This old Taoist, Qingshu, leader of the Dragon Tiger Mountain sect, pays respects to the divine being. Behind him, a few disciples of the Dragon Tiger Mountain sect quickly followed suit with a bow, looking at me with awe in their eyes, especially when they saw Camo standing beside me. A gratified smile spread across Elder Qingshu's face. "Little girl, to have such a fortunate encounter, to be under the protection of a divine being, is a blessing for you and a blessing for my Dragon Tiger Mountain sect." Camo stuck out his tongue, hugging my neck. He smiled at Elder Qingshu. "Master, Dog Egg is my best friend. It's not just some fortunate encounter." I nodded gently at Elder Qingshu as a greeting. After all, he was Camo's master and had been good to Camo. I had to give him that respect. Seeing this, Elder Qingshu's smile grew even warmer. He quickly said to me, "Divine being, the Protectorate City's defenses were breached this time. We owe everything to your turning the tide, slaying the Sea Emperor's clone, and saving the entire city's people. But the situation is still dire." My heart instantly sank. Of course there was a twist. Elder Qingshu's face instantly grew grave. "We've just received word from the front lines. This Sea Emperor clone was just a decoy. The main body of the Abyssal Sea Emperor has already broken free from beneath the Antarctic ice. Right now it's leading an army of 1,000,000 deep-sea monsters, heading straight for the East Sea. And that's not all. At the mouth of the Yangtze River, over 10 million deep-sea monsters have already gathered and are pushing inland. In less than 3 hours, they'll reach the Protectorate City again. Of our 18 coastal defense lines, 17 have already been breached. The disciples from the various mountain sects and the military soldiers have suffered over half casualties. They can't hold much longer." As soon as he said this, the faces of everyone around turned deathly pale. The brief moment of relief sank again to freezing point. Tens of millions of deep-sea monsters, and the main body of the Abyssal Sea Emperor, the one I just swallowed, was just a clone. And it was already that terrifying. How strong must its main body be? Camo clutched my neck tighter, his small hands squeezing tight. His eyes filled with worry, but I felt no fear at all. Ha! From the moment I, Dog Egg, escaped that slaughter table, I never learned how to spell the word fear. If he wants to come, let him come. This is my home, the place I have sworn to protect. If he dares to set one foot in here, I'll tear his head off and swallow it down. I lifted my head, letting out a clear, piercing cry. It echoed across the entire Protectorate City. Tiger 1 and Tiger 2 immediately straightened up, roaring at the sky. Their earth-shattering tiger roars filled with ferocity. Their eyes blazed with killing intent. The Black Bear King pounded his chest hard, letting out an enraged roar. The Forest King hissed its forked tongue flicking out, its cold vertical pupils brimming with murderous intent. The Golden Eagle King spread his wings and screeched sharply at the sky. The army of 10,000 beasts behind me let out a unified earth-shaking roar of war, their fighting spirit soaring into the clouds. A mere 10 million beasts. A so-called Sea Emperor's main body. I'll swallow every single one that comes. Elder Qingshu watched this scene, blood boiling within him. He bowed deeply to me once more. Divine Being, on behalf of all martial artists in China, Grandmaster Gao Yi thanks you. Acknowledging the Divine Being's help, I waved my wing at him dismissively, sending a thought directly to his mind with my psychic power. Enough with the formalities. Get your people organized now. Evacuate all civilians from the Protectorate City, gather every warrior capable of fighting, and hold the outer perimeter of the Protectorate City. My beast army will fight alongside you. Also, I want all information about the Abyssal Sea Emperor and the Deep Sea Beasts. Know your enemy, know yourself, and you'll win every battle. Elder Qingshu's face lit up with immense joy. He nodded hurriedly. Yes, I'll go arrange it immediately. With that, he turned and led the dragon, Tiger Mountain disciples, and the military officers away to make arrangements quickly. Camo looked up at me, determination shining in his eyes. Dog egg. I'm staying with you. I'm a Grandmaster now. I can help. You've always protected me before. This time, let me fight alongside you to protect our home. I looked into his determined eyes. A feeling of warmth washed over me. I nuzzled his forehead gently with my head, letting out a soft chirp. Okay, then we'll fight side by side. Over the next 2 hours, the entire Protectorate City mobilized. Civilians were orderly evacuated to safer inland areas. Military soldiers set up defensive lines one after another on the city's outskirts. All artillery and missiles were deployed, their muzzles aimed squarely at the mouth of the Yangtze River. Warriors from all the mountain sects gathered as well. A formidable force of over 10,000 weapons in hand took their positions at the very front of the defensive line. Their faces were grim, but not a single one retreated. And I, leading my army of 10,000 beasts, took position at the very front line. Tiger 1 and Tiger 2 stood on my left and right. The Black Bear King, Forest King, and Golden Eagle King flanked us, leading their own beast clans. Like an impenetrable wall of bronze and iron, standing guard before the Protectorate City, Camo stood on my back, a peachwood sword in his hand, his white Taoist robe fluttering in the wind. His ultimate wood spirit root was fully activated. All the plants and trees within a 10-li radius grew wildly under his control, forming impenetrable wooden walls, blocking the front of the defensive line. Everyone was waiting for the decisive battle that would determine their fate. Finally, on the distant horizon, an earth-shattering roar echoed. A black tide surged from the direction of the Yangtze River's mouth, raging forward. It wasn't seawater. It was countless deep-sea monsters, dense and packed, stretching as far as the eye could see, like a plague of locusts. Wherever they passed, the very earth was trampled and split. The river water itself turned black. Tens of millions of deep-sea monsters had arrived. Leading them were over a dozen deep-sea demons, each over 100 meters long. Their auras were terrifying. Every single one was nearly as powerful as the Sea Emperor clone I had just faced. They spotted the defensive line ahead. Unleashing series of frenzied roars, their speed increased. Fire came the command and the battle began. Countless shells rained down on the defensive line. Missiles fell like raindrops, harshly smashing toward the beast lair. Explosions rang out one after another. The beasts charging at the front were instantly blown to pieces, but there were simply too many beasts. Those in front fell. Those behind immediately trampled over their comrades' corpses and kept charging forward. In just a few short minutes, the beast tide had already reached the front line. Xia Dingshu sect leader let out a loud roar. Leading tens of thousands of warriors, he charged ahead and clashed with the beasts. Blades flashed and swords gleamed. Spiritual energy surged everywhere. Countless beasts were slain, but countless warriors also fell under the beast's claws. Blood instantly dyed the ground red. Charge! I let out a furious roar. Spreading my wings, I shot forward first. All-devouring swallow. I opened my mouth wide. Terrifying devouring power erupted. The hundreds of beasts at the very front were instantly sucked into my mouth, without even a scream. The system's notification sounds rang non-stop in my mind. My weight skyrocketed at a visible rate. Big Tiger and Second Tiger led the tiger pack charging into the beast lair. The two white tigers were like two bolts of white lightning. Wherever they passed, beast heads fell to the ground. Black Bear King was even more ferocious. With one slap, he could kill several beasts, like a black tank. He rampaged through the beast lair. Senran King's massive body coiled tightly around a 100-meter-long giant serpent. With a vicious squeeze, He instantly crushed the serpent's bones to powder. Golden Eagle King led countless birds, diving down from the sky, their claws viciously aimed at the beast's eyes. Precise and deadly, my beast army of 10,000 crashed violently into the beast lair. The battle raged until the sky darkened and the earth dimmed. Sun and moon lost their light. But the number of beasts was simply too great. Kill one wave, another came, as if endless. Gradually, we began to lose the upper hand. Warriors fell one by one. Casualties started appearing in the beast army. My body was covered with more and more wounds. Although the Nirvana fire healed them quickly, the power inside me was also draining at an alarming rate. Just then, a deafening roar came from the river in the distance. A terrifying aura of the highest degree, like dark clouds pressing down, enveloped the entire world. Everyone, including me, instantly turned pale. The Abyss, Sea Emperor's true body, had arrived. On the distant river surface, gigantic waves thousands of meters high arose. An incomparably huge body slowly rose from the river water. His body was over 1,000 meters long. Countless tentacles, each hundreds of meters in length, lashed about in the sky. Every tentacle was covered in countless eyes, emitting a blood-red glow. Just the aura he released made the earth tremble, and space began to warp. Everyone on the defensive line was suffocated by this pressure. Warriors with lower cultivation even coughed up blood and fell to their knees. His gaze locked onto me, filled with endless coldness and murderous intent. "You killed my clone." His voice seemed to come from the 9 nether hells, ringing directly in everyone's mind, carrying endless spiritual pollution. Those with low cultivation instantly had blood streaming from their 7 orifices from the sound. I stood in front of everyone. Spreading my wings, I stared at him unflinchingly, letting out a cry that showed no weakness. "I killed it. If you're smart, take your people and crawl back to your deep sea. Otherwise, your clone's fate will be yours." "Ha ha ha, ridiculous." The Abyss Sea Emperor let out a mad laugh. The laughter was full of scorn and cruelty. "A tiny little chicken. Even if you've awakened a sliver of divine bloodline, how dare you spout nonsense before me? Today I will flatten this land, and make all humans my blood slaves. As for you, I will tear you apart piece by piece, refine your bloodline, and make you suffer eternal damnation." Before his words even faded, his countless tentacles, like steel whips, with world-destroying power, lashed viciously toward me. Wherever they passed, space shattered layer by layer under their strikes. Wind thunder wings. I instantly turned into a streak of light, dodging the tentacle attack. At the same time, I activated Space Lock, trying to bind his body, but his strength was far too great. My Space Lock only made him pause for a moment, before he broke free instantly. "Is that all you've got?" The Abyss Sea Emperor sneered. Countless tentacles surrounded me from all directions, instantly wrapping me up tightly. Gudente Mitai let out a heart-wrenching cry. He swung his peachwood sword, countless wooden spikes like a storm, pierced toward the Abyss Sea Emperor's tentacles, trying to help me. But his attacks on the tentacles didn't even leave a scratch. Grain-sized spiders also shot webs. The Abyss Sea Emperor snorted coldly. One tentacle casually whipped toward Mikai. If that tentacle hit, Mikai would be smashed to pieces instantly. "Don't you dare touch him!" My eyes instantly split with rage. The Nirvana fire within me blazed wildly. Bloodthirsty Nirvana fire fully unleashed. My stats doubled instantly. The tentacles wrapping me were instantly burned to ashes by the Nirvana fire. I turned into a streak of light and appeared, standing in front of Mikai. Using my own body, I firmly blocked the incoming tentacle. With a deafening boom, I was sent flying by that tentacle, slamming hard into the ground, creating a huge crater. Ding Ho suffered fatal damage, constitution minus 10,000. Excruciating pain swept through my entire body. A large amount of golden blood spilled from the corner of my mouth. Scales and feathers fell all over the ground. Several bones were shattered by the impacts. Goo Dan. Mikai ran toward me like a madman, tears streaming down like broken pearls, falling without stop. Big Tiger and Second Tiger also charged over, standing in front of the crater, roaring furiously toward the Abyss Sea Emperor. Even though they trembled under his aura, their whole bodies shivering, they still refused to take a step back. Black Bear King, Senren King, Golden Eagle King also rushed over, forming a circle, firmly guarding me behind them. A pack of ignorant beasts. The Abyss Sea Emperor snorted coldly. More countless tentacles lashed viciously toward them. "No!" Mikai screamed. Spreading his arms, he stood in front of them. Just as the tentacles were about to strike Mikai, a thunderous roar suddenly rang out. Black Bear King charged out. Using his massive body, he firmly blocked in front of Mikai. Countless tentacles viciously slammed into Black Bear King. The sound of bones cracking was clearly audible. Black Bear King let out a painful roar. Blood gushed from his mouth, yet he still stood there, refusing to retreat half a step. Using his body, he protected Mikai and the tigers behind him. Second tiger turned his head to look at me in the crater. His eyes were full of reluctance and respect. He let out a low whimper. That look, I remembered it from when I saved him and his cubs in the valley. Back then, he had also lowered his head to me like that. He was repaying my kindness with his life, no Black Bear King. My eyes instantly turned red. An unprecedented fury and helplessness swept through my whole body. I struggled to stand up, but all my bones were broken. I couldn't move at all. The Abyss Sea Emperor watched this scene and let out a cruel laugh. How touching. But today everything's about you will be buried with me. His tentacles rose again, preparing to deliver the final blow to Black Bear King. Just then, a sudden change occurred. Countless spiritual sword beams flew from the horizon, severely slashing into the Abyss Sea Emperor's tentacles, instantly cutting off several tentacles. Then, countless figures flew over from the horizon. At the head were several elders with unfathomable auras. Each one was at the peak of the Grandmaster realm, and 2 had even stepped into the King realm. It was Wudang Mountain, Wutai Mountain, Juhua Mountain. All the warriors from all the mountains of Huaxia had come, and not only that, the roar of countless fighter jets came from the sky. Countless warplanes formed squadrons and fired countless missiles at the Abyss Sea Emperor. On the ground, countless military reinforcements also arrived. Tanks and armored vehicles formed a steel torrent, launching a countercharge against the beast tide. On Huaxia's land, no demon dares to run wild. The head of Wudang Mountain let out a great shout. Swinging his longsword, a 1,000-meter-long sword beam slashed fiercely toward the Abyss Sea Emperor. All the warriors charged forward, launching a frenzied attack on the Abyss Sea Emperor. The Abyss Sea Emperor, caught off guard by this sudden attack, was thrown into disarray, letting out an enraged roar. A bunch of ants dare to block me. He wildly swung his tentacles and clashed with the warriors from all the mountains. Taking this opportunity, Mikai hurried to my side, forming hand seals. Top-grade wood spirit root power burst forth. Countless life forces surged into my body. Gudan, hold on. You have to hold on. His tears fell drop by drop onto me. His voice choked, his whole body trembling. Big Tiger and Second Tiger also came to my side, gently licking my wounds with their tongues, making whimpering sounds. I looked at the blood-soaked Black Bear King, who was still standing firm, at Mitai, tears streaming down his face, at the warriors and soldiers who, to protect this land, rushed forward wave after wave. In my heart, an unprecedented power erupted again. I cannot lose. I absolutely cannot lose. If I lose, all of them will die. Ding detected host's guardian heart perfected, triggering Nirvana rebirth. Ding, all host injuries instantly healed. All stats doubled. Host's current weight exceeds 1 million Jin. Conditions for the 5th evolution met. Initiate ultimate evolution now. Ultimate evolution at last. Evolve now. I let out a hysterical roar in my mind. Ultimate evolution initiated. Unlocking Chaos Origin. Kun, Pung, and Phoenix bloodlines fully merging, achieving Chaos Primordial Imperial form. This evolution had no earth-shattering phenomena, only endless chaotic energy, flowing slowly within me. My body slowly reshaped in the chaotic energy. Shattered bones regenerated instantly, becoming even more indestructible. Depleted power instantly restored, and multiplied countless times. My size did not continue to grow. Instead, it slowly shrank, finally becoming a palm-sized chick, covered in chaotic colored down, looking utterly ordinary. But only I knew, inside me, now lay a power capable of destroying the heavens and shattering the earth. One cry could shake mountains and rivers. One stomp could startle the sun and moon. Ultimate evolution complete. Species updated. Chaos Primordial Imperial Beast. Host Godan species Chaos Primordial Imperial Beast. Chaos Divine Beast, weight 1 million Jin. Can freely shrink or enlarge. Constitution, Strength, Agility. Innate Divine Ability, All Devouring Heaven. Can devour everything in heaven and earth. Laws of space-time and chaos can all be devoured and used. Innate spell Nirvana, Undying. As long as the soul is not destroyed, one never falls. Can undergo infinite Nirvana rebirth. All skills upgraded to God level. The moment evolution was complete, I flapped my tiny wings and flew out of the crater. Everyone noticed me. Mikai stared at me, his eyes full of shock and disbelief. Big Tiger and Second Tiger also stared blankly at me, tilted their heads, clearly not recognizing this little chick as their boss. The Abyss Sea Emperor, still battling the warriors from the mountains, also noticed me, letting out a dismissive laugh. What, beaten back to your original form? With that little power you dared to challenge me? I ignored his mockery, slowly raising my head I looked at his massive body, fluttered my tiny wings. The next second, my form instantly appeared before him. He didn't even see my movement. I raised my tiny claw and gently tapped his head. It looked like a feather-light tap, but it contained enough power to shatter heaven and earth. With a deafening boom, the Abyss, Sea Emperor's 1,000-meter-long colossal body, was instantly struck by my tap, smashed heavily onto the river surface, creating a gigantic crater. The river water was forced aside by the impact, exposing the dry riverbed. He let out a scream of extreme agony, his eyes full of incredulous terror. Impossible! This is absolutely impossible! How can you have such power? I slowly landed on his head, my tiny claw pressing down on his skull, letting out a cold cry. Nothing is impossible. You will never understand how strong the power of protection truly is. You only know plunder. You only know destruction. You will never understand. For the sake of protecting those I care about, even a barnyard chicken can evolve into a chaos divine beast and trample the so-called Sea Emperor under its feet. I opened my mouth, all devouring heaven. A devouring force capable of swallowing the entire world erupted instantly. This time not only the Abyss Sea Emperor's true body, but also all the millions of deep-sea beasts still rampaging in the entire Yangtze River were all sucked up by this force, pouring madly into my mouth. The Abyss Sea Emperor let out a desperate roar, struggling with all his might, but his resistance in front of my all-devouring heaven was as laughable as a mantis trying to stop a chariot. His massive body was slowly drawn into my mouth until he was completely devoured. Devoured Abyss Sea Emperor true body. Obtained Abyss origin. All stats greatly increased. Devoured millions of deep-sea beasts. Weight plus 50 million jin. Unlocked chaos domain. The moment all beasts were swallowed, the entire world fell silent. Sunlight pierced through the thick clouds, spilling onto the earth. Everyone stared blankly at the sky. At that palm-sized, chaotic-colored little chick, long unable to recover from the shock. The next second, deafening cheers resounded across heaven and earth. We won, we won. Long live the divine beast. We defended the city. We defended Huaxia. Countless soldiers, countless warriors, cheered wildly, embracing and weeping. My tyrant toward me extended his hand and I gently landed on his palm. I rubbed my tiny head against his fingers. He looked at me. Tears fell again, but this time they were tears of joy. Gudan, you did it. You really did it. I let out a soft cry. Yes, I did it. I protected the ones I wanted to protect. I defended this land. In the days that followed, all of Huaxia erupted in celebration. The story of my slaying the Abyss Sea Emperor and defending the coastline spread across the land. Everyone called me the guardian divine beast of the nation. The leaders of all the mountain sects jointly submitted a petition to build a temple for me to receive the incense of 10,000 households. The military awarded me the highest medal of honor, venerating me as the guardian of Huaxia, but I was not interested in any of that. I first took Michai back to the familiar little mountain village. The village was a mess. The remnants of the foreign poaching group had attacked the village with a group of beasts. Old Mai and the villagers relying on the village walls held out for 3 days and 3 nights, barely managing to defend it. Old Mai himself, in protecting the villagers, was severely injured, lying on his bed barely alive. When he saw Mikai and me return, Old Me lay on the bed looking at me, his eyes full of guilt and gratitude. He struggled to sit up, apologizing to me. Gudanji, no divine beast. I was wrong before. I shouldn't have always thought about killing you and selling you. Thank you for saving our village. I landed on the edge of his bed, channeled Nirvana fire into his body. His severe injuries healed instantly. Old Me felt his body restored, cried with gratitude, apologizing repeatedly. I nodded gently to him. Let the past be the past. After all, he was Mikai's father, the one who gave me my first life. Though he had planned to fatten me up and sell me, without him I wouldn't be where I am today. After settling the village affairs, I took Big Tiger, Second Tiger, and Black Bear King and the rest back to the Dali Primordial Forest. Black Bear King had been severely injured earlier. Almost didn't make it. I used my own essence blood to pull him back from death's door. After this period of recovery, he was fully healed, and even awakened his bloodline, gaining a blessing in disguise. His strength multiplied several times. Big Tiger and Second Tiger had grown into White Tiger Kings over 5 meters long, becoming the rightful second in command of the Daling Mountains. I turned the Daling Mountains and all the surrounding forests into a beast sanctuary. Here, beasts and humans coexisted peacefully. Non-aggression pact. Humans would no longer poach beasts in the mountains, and beasts would not come out to harm people. I also reached an agreement with the authorities. My beast army of 10,000 would garrison along Huaxia's coastline, together with the warriors of the military and mountain sects, protect the peace of this land, and the authorities would protect all beasts in the mountains, give them a safe home. Everything was developing in the best direction. The era of spiritual energy revival was no longer just about killing and destruction. Humans and beasts could coexist peacefully, guarding this shared home together. But the peaceful days did not last long. A shocking reversal shattered the tranquility. When I was cleaning up the former camp of the foreign poaching group, I found an encrypted hard drive, and inside it a secret that made my eyes burn with rage. The previous poaching group, they are by no means scattered poachers. They belong to an overseas supernatural organization, the Black Crow, and this organization has long since colluded with the Abyss Sea Emperor. The collapse of the city defense line was no accident. It was a mole from this Black Crow organization who leaked the defense layout, opened a gap in the defenses, and let the deep sea beasts pour in. What angers me even more is that this mole is actually on Dragon Tiger Mountain, right by Mikai's side. He is a direct disciple of the Green District sect leader, and also Mikai's senior fellow apprentice Xuanchen. He was bribed by the Black Crow organization long ago for the so-called immortality. He betrayed his own country, and betrayed the entire cultivation world. Even worse, he was planning to set up a space teleportation array at the Dragon Vein site of Dragon Tiger Mountain to directly teleport the remnants of the Abyss Sea Emperor into the heartland of Huaxia. By the time I discovered this secret, Xuanchen had already led his men, sneaking into the back mountain of Dragon Tiger Mountain, and the teleportation array was almost complete. Once the array is activated, countless abyssal beasts will appear directly in the inland of Huaxia. The consequences would be unimaginable. I was instantly enraged. These ingrates seeking death. Without a moment's hesitation, I unleashed my full scarlet power at 10 times the speed of sound, and flew straight toward Dragon Tiger Mountain. When Nietzsche learned the news, his whole body trembled. His eyes filled with disbelief and disappointment. He never imagined that the senior fellow apprentice who had always been kind to him, gentle and refined, would actually be a mole colluding with the enemy and betraying the country. Gauden, I'm coming with you. Maikai gripped the peachwood sword tightly, his eyes filled with icy killing intent. This time he didn't hesitate, betraying the sect, colluding with the enemy and betraying the country, harming his own people. Such a person cannot be allowed to live. We arrived at the back mountain of Dragon Tiger Mountain at top speed. Sure enough, deep in the back mountain, Xuanchen, with a dozen supernaturals from the Black Crow organization, was frantically pouring spiritual power into the teleportation array. The array had already lit up with a blood-red glow. Space itself began to warp, and I could faintly hear the roars of beasts from the other side. Xuanchen, what are you doing? Nietzsche shouted in anger, pointing his peachwood sword at Xuanchen. Xuanchen turned around and looked at us, a ferocious grin spreading across his face. Dear junior sister, why are you here? Ah, I forgot. The divine chicken by your side is truly all-powerful. Since you're here, come and welcome the new era together. New era. Mikai trembled all over. You colluded with the enemy and betrayed your country, betrayed your sect, caused the deaths of so many senior brothers, sisters, and innocent people. And you still have the nerve to talk about a new era. Senior brother and sisters. Xuanchen chuckled, his eyes wild with madness. Just a bunch of ants. As long as I can achieve eternal life, as long as I can obtain greater power, sacrificing them means nothing. When Lord Sea Emperor descends with his army, I will be a founding hero. Then the whole world will be mine. You're dreaming. I let out a cold snort and struck instantly. Space restraint. The space within 100 meters instantly froze. Xuanchen and those supernaturals were frozen solid. The smiles on their faces instantly stiffened, their eyes filled with terror. No, impossible. How can you be so strong? I landed next to the teleportation array. My little claw gave a light tap, and the array that had cost Xuanchen so much effort and was supposedly indestructible instantly cracked all over and shattered with a bang. Xuanchen stared at the shattered array and let out a desperate roar. No! My work, my immortality. He went mad trying to break free from the space restraint and lunged at me, but I only gave him a cold glance. Devour all. A burst of suction erupted. Xuanchen and those Black Crow supernaturals were instantly sucked into my mouth, without even a scream. With Xuanchen and the remnants of the Black Crow eliminated, the crisis at Dragon Tiger Mountain was completely resolved. When the Green District sect leader learned the truth, he trembled with rage and repeatedly apologized to me, blaming himself for raising such a scumbag. I waved my wing at him, signaling that the matter was settled. After all, the fault was Xuanchen's, not Dragon Tiger Mountain's. Through this incident, Maikai truly grew up. He was no longer the little girl who would only hide behind me, crying her nose off. He began to follow the Green District sect leader, handling affairs on Dragon Tiger Mountain, leading disciples to reinforce various places, slaying beasts, and saving the people. His cultivation also soared through repeated trials, soon breaking through to the Grandmaster realm, becoming the youngest Grandmaster in the cultivation world. And I stayed with him. Wherever he went, I followed. He went to the front line to assist. I went with him to the very forefront of the battlefield. He returned to the village to visit his parents. I followed him back to that familiar chicken coop, watching a bunch of chirping little chicks, remembering when I had just been reborn. Occasionally, I would also take Mikai flying back to the Devouring Mountains to hunt in the forest with Dahub and Erhu, drink by the river, watch the sunrise and sunset. Life went on peacefully and steadily like this. A year later, the remnants of the Abyss Sea Emperor were completely cleaned up by us. The global spiritual energy recovery gradually stabilized. Humans and beasts found a way to coexist peacefully. Major sects opened their doors wide to accept disciples. The era of national cultivation had officially arrived, and in that year, I traveled to all the famous mountains and great rivers of Huaxia, devouring countless natural treasures and special terrains. My chaos bloodline was fully perfected. I finally understood that the so-called strongest on land was never built on devouring and slaughter. True strength lies in reverence, lies in knowing how to protect, lies in knowing where to use one's power. At the end of the story, Mikai became the youngest sect leader of Dragon Tiger Mountain, and also the leader of the Huaxia cultivation world. Together with the martial artists from major sects in the military, and my army of 10,000 beasts, he built a brand new defense line, protecting every inch of Huaxia's land. Dahub and Erhu became the guardians of the Devouring Mountains, leading the beasts of the forest to coexist peacefully with humans, becoming the famous twin white tiger kings. Black Bear King, Senran King, and Jingdiao King each guarded their own mountain forests, becoming beast kings that protected the peace of their territories. As for me, I didn't stay in the bustling city, nor did I remain in the cold, deep mountains. I turned back into an ordinary little yellow chicken. Every day I would squat on Mikai's shoulder, rising with the sun and resting at dusk. Many people asked me, what exactly is the strongest on land, Brother One? Is it a tiger, a lion, a bear, or the Sea Emperor from the Abyss? None of those. The strongest on land, Brother One, was never born a king. It's not about how strong your power is, or how terrifying your bloodline is. It's about whether you have something you would give everything to protect. With a heart full of bonds, you become invincible. Even a common chicken that escaped from the slaughterhouse, as long as it has a heart to protect, can stand at the peak of heaven and earth and become the strongest existence in this world. And I, Guden, will forever guard my bonds, guard Mikai, guard this land, guard everything I care about, year after year, never to be separated.